Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Let's get started with Week 47's Word Nerd Wednesday. Now, this series, we've bounced around between A Long Expected Party and Aldarion and Arendis to find words to take deeper dives into on our Word Nerd Wednesdays. But this week, I want to look to our First Age Friday readings, as we've yet to do word nerdery on the name of the most beautiful of all of the children of Iluvatar, Luthien Tinuviel. Now, you've heard the name maybe dozens or hundreds of times, but let's dive into the etymology and break this down. Luthien is a Sindarin name, because of course it is, Thingol, and it is translated as daughter of flowers, according to Parma El Delamberon number 17, where we are also told that she was given this name because her mother, Melian, was associated with flowers when she dwelled in Lorien. Now, Lorien is not Lothlorien, but the original Lorien, the gardens of Irmo in Valinor, and whose name is often used to refer to Irmo, just as his brother Namo is often referred to by his dwelling place of Mandos, but I digress. The elements of Luthien's name are Luth, meaning blossom or inflorescence, and the IEN suffix, which is just a feminine ending. Now, that Luth comes from the root LOT or LOTH, and we see that in Sindarin Loth, which we see in the word Lothlorien, which means dream flower, and Nimloth, which means white blossoms. Now, interestingly, in some early writings, Luthien was the Gnomish, that is Noldorin before it was Noldorin, name, but it was the name of a male character, Elfwine, and that meant either wanderer or friend at the time. Now, that was abandoned, of course. Later on in the etymologies, there is a rejected note that translates Luthien in Doriathrin, which is a variant of Sindarin spoken in Doriath, as Enchantress, and that comes from a primitive Quendian root that meant magic or enchantment. But of course, it ends up being what it means, right? I mean, that's just the course of time and all the complicated steps that Tolkien took to get it where it lands. Now, the name Tinuviel also has an interesting history. When this character first showed up in the very earliest versions of the Lost Tales, her given name was Gnomish Tynwfiel. And I'm spelling that out because I am not even going to try to pronounce it. It looks Welsh, but I'm just not going to try. Anyway, that got changed to Tinuviel, but it was still her given name. And by the 1920s, in the Lays of Beleriand versions of the story, Tolkien decided that Tinuviel was an epithet given to her by Beren, and that's when he chose Luthien to be her given name. Now, Tinuviel is often translated as nightingale, and that's fair. But it's really just a poetic term for the nightingale. The word itself is Sindarin and means daughter of twilight. Now, that IEL suffix you probably already recognize as a feminine suffix, sometimes meaning daughter, but it's also present in plenty of other feminine names as well, like Gilthoniel, which means star kindler. It's another name for Varda or Elbereth. Nimrodel, Lady of the White Cave. Niniel, Tear Maiden. And most famously, Galadriel, maiden crowned with a garland of bright radiance. Now that's the IEL part. The other element, Tinu, is said to mean twilight. Now, Tinuviel derives from a primitive Elvish name, Tindomiselde. The etymologies explain that tin means sparkle, emits slender silver pale beams. Dom means faint or dim, and sel means child. So, child of faint, dim, sparkling silver pale beams. Now we see that same tin element in one of Varda's other names, Tintale, star kindler, as well as in Ithildine, moon star, referencing the magical alloy used in the Moria gate runes. So that's Luthien Tinuviel. Now, folks, I know this was a short one, but that is it for today's Word Nerd Wednesday. Come back next week as we wander the wide, wild, wonderful world of words weekly on Wednesdays. And if there is a word that you want to know more about, please let me know by emailing barlaman@theprancingponypodcast.com. Please visit patreon.com/Tolkien Times to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free feed, monthly hangout with me, bonus weekly episode, and more. And join me again tomorrow on today's Tolkien Times for Third Age Thursday. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, and please follow or subscribe in your podcast apps, and follow @Tolkien Times on all your social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.